There are times in your life when you feel like no one sees you, no one appreciates you, and no one understands the value you carry within. Speaking about, you may be striving in silence, working hard in secret, praying with tears that only Allah knows about, and yet the world seems unaware of your struggle. It feels like you are invisible, overlooked, and perhaps even forgotten. But in truth, what you may not realize is that being hidden is not the same as being abandoned. Being delayed is not the same as being denied. There is a deep wisdom in the way Allah chooses to conceal certain individuals before He allows the world to see who they truly are. When Allah hides you, it is a divine mercy. It is His way of sheltering your soul from the harm that comes with premature exposure. Speaking about, just like a seed that is buried deep within the soil, concealed and unseen, it is in that very darkness that growth begins. That seed is not being neglected. It is being nurtured. Allah hides you because there is something He wants to build within you first. He wants your intentions to be purified, your heart to refined, your worship to be consistent, even when no one is watching. If you were exposed too early, before this internal work is complete, it could destroy you. The world is quick to applaud, but even quicker to criticize. The eyes of people are not always kind. Jealousy, arrogance, comparisons, they can corrupt a soul that is not rooted deeply in sincerity. So Allah, in His infinite kindness, conceals you. For speaking about, He gives you time to grow without pressure, to mature without being tested by fame or attention, to walk slowly and steadily in His obedience without the noise of the crowd. Sometimes the concealment feels like rejection. You wonder why others are progressing and you're still hidden. You question whether your efforts are seen. You ask yourself why your talents are not being recognized, why your sacrifices are not being acknowledged, why your good intentions are not bearing immediate fruit. But what you must remember is that the one who matters most is watching. Allah sees every silent tear, every quiet act of charity, every time you held your tongue when you wanted to respond with anger, every prayer you whispered while the world slept, every fast you kept, every good deed you hid for His sake alone. These are the moments that build your spiritual rank, even if the world never applauds you for them. And often, Allah delays your visibility so that your relationship with Him is strengthened without the interference of worldly validation. There are people whose entire lives are spent chasing attention. They need to be seen. They hunger for recognition. They seek status, popularity, and praise. But in doing so, they risk losing something far greater, the purity of intention. When you do something for the sake of people's admiration, the reward is limited to that admiration. But when you act purely for Allah, even if no one knows, your reward is eternal. Allah may hide you in this world so that you shine in the next. He may keep you unknown among people so that you are known among the angels that we're speaking about. He may veil your deeds from others so that He can preserve your sincerity. And that sincerity is worth more than any fame this world can offer. There is comfort in knowing that the delay is not random. The hiding is not accidental. It is part of a carefully designed plan. Allah knows when you are ready. He knows when your heart is firm, should be speaking about, and your soul is grounded and your connection with Him is strong enough to withstand the challenges that come with elevation. He is not only preparing a place for you in this world, He is preparing you for that place. And until that preparation is complete, the hiding is a form of mercy, speaking about, a way of building your spiritual muscles in secret so that when the time comes to stand in front of the world, you are able to carry the responsibility with humility, patience, and gratitude. If you study the lives of the prophets, one powerful pattern becomes cleared before they were elevated. They were hidden. Before they were raised in status and made leaders, they were kept in seclusion, isolated from attention, distanced from power, speaking about, and in many cases tested with silence and obscurity. This is not coincidental. It is a divine system. Allah never sends someone into public leadership or influence without first refining them through private hardship. Be speaking about. This is why the most beloved of Allah, the most honored by Him, were often the most hidden before they were elevated. Consider the life of Prophet Musa. From the moment he was born, he was placed in danger. But what did Allah do? He inspired his mother to hide him, a baby, defenseless, innocent, placed in a basket and left to float down a river. From the outside, it appeared like abandonment, but in reality it was divine concealment. Allah was protecting him not only from Pharaoh's tyranny, but also from being exposed too early. That concealment lasted years. Even after Musa grew up, he spent time away from the city, away from the spotlight, and even ended up in exile. But all of it was part of the preparation. Speaking about. When he returned, he came back as a runaway, but as a messenger of Allah, armed with strength, humility, wisdom, and divine guidance. Look at Prophet Yusuf. His journey begins with him being thrown into a well by his own brothers. He is not just hidden from the world, he is hidden from his own family. Then sold into slavery, then imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. His life was marked by silence, isolation, and injustice. But within that hiding, something profound was happening. Yusuf was learning patience. He was learning leadership. He was being taught to interpret dreams, to understand human character, to trust in Allah even when wronged by people. And when the moment came, Allah didn't just elevate him in the eyes of his family. He elevated him in the entire land of Egypt. He went from a prisoner to a minister. But that elevation came only after years of being hidden. The most powerful example is the life of Prophet Muhammad. Before he received revelation, he would retreat into the cave of Hira. He spent time in solitude, away from the city, away from people, away from status. For months, he would go there and reflect. And when revelation began, it was in that cave, in complete isolation. Even then, he did not immediately go and proclaim the message to the masses. He began in secret. For years, Islam was spread quietly. The early Muslims were few, often hidden in their faith, practicing in fear of persecution. But this phase of concealment built their resilience. It taught them sincerity. It bonded them with one another and with their Lord. That be speaking, only later came the public dawah, the migration, the establishment of a state. But none of that would have succeeded without the hidden stage that came before. What this teaches us is that every stage of hiding is a stage of preparation. The ones whom Allah uses for greatness are not thrown into it. They are gradually led to it. And each test, each moment of obscurity, each silent prayer in the dark becomes a brick in the foundation of their strength. And if you find yourself in that place, hidden, we should be speaking about waiting, wondering, then know that you are walking the same path walked by the prophets. Speaking about, you are in the company of those who were loved most by Allah. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not let your heart feel disheartened when your name is not known, your efforts are not seen, your work is not appreciated. Because it may be that Allah is covering you, protecting you from harm, shaping your soul, building your character, and preparing you for a moment of elevation that you cannot even imagine. The elevation of Allah is not only about worldly recognition. Sometimes He elevates you through status in the hearts of the righteous. Sometimes He elevates you by granting you contentment and peace. Sometimes He lifts your rank in the unseen realms where the angels carry your name to the heavens while you walk the earth in silence. And And sometimes He gives you a role to play in the betterment of others, a role that you didn't ask for but were prepared for. But before any of that can happen, there must be a season of hiding, because it is in that hidden season where your faith is forged, your patience is proven, and your reliance on Allah becomes unshackable. There is a kind of silence that is sacred, a silence where the world may not hear your name, see your work, or acknowledge your value. But in that silence, Allah is crafting something deep within you. That silence is not a pause in your life. It is not a setback, and it is certainly not a punishment. It is a process. It is the stage of hidden growth, the part of your journey where Allah keeps you out of view, away from recognition, because there is something far more important happening than public approval. There is inner transformation. In this phase, it may seem like nothing is happening. You are praying, striving, sacrificing, giving your best, but it feels like the world does not respond. There is no applause, no validation, no breakthrough. But the believer understands that the real progress is often unseen. What grows underground does not make noise. The roots of a tree spread wide and deep before the trunk is visible above the surface. That foundation must be strong, or the entire tree will fall when storms arrive. So Allah allows the believer to grow quietly, far from the spotlight, speaking about, because He knows that the roots matter more than the branches. In this sacred silence, speaking about, you begin to taste the sweetness of doing something for Allah alone. You wake up before Fajr when no one is watching out, and you stand before your Lord with no audience. You give in charity quietly. You help others without seeking thanks, speaking about. You forgive those who wrong you and tell no one about it. Speaking about, you begin to build a relationship with Allah that is not dependent on who praises you or who notices your efforts. That be speaking about. You become content with being hidden because you know that the one who sees all is the one whose pleasure matters most. And when your heart reaches that place where it longs for Allah more than it longs for recognition, then you are being prepared for something higher. This phase of silence is where character is built. You learn patience in the face of invisibility. You develop humility when others are chosen before you. You gain resilience when you keep walking with no signs of progress. These are not small qualities. They are the pillars of greatness. Many want to be elevated without going through the process of silence. But Allah does not rush your journey. He knows that. If you are elevated too soon, before you are ready, the very blessings you seek could become burdens. So He keeps you hidden until your heart is strong enough to carry the weight of elevation. Your soul is pure enough to handle the praise, and your faith is firm enough not to be swayed by status. Think of the scholars whose names are known today across the world, quoted and respected centuries after their death. Many of them spent long periods of their lives in solitude, studying in remote places, serving people without recognition. Their knowledge was built in silence. Their sincerity was tested when no one was watching. Their hearts were trained to seek Allah's pleasure above all else. That is why, when they were elevated, their legacy endured. The foundation was pure. The roots were strong. The light they spread came from a place of truth, not ego. Allah preserved their legacy because He was the one who raised them. Not that the people, you may be going through a period now where you are unseen. Your talents, your dreams, your efforts may feel buried. But remember, buried things are not always dead. Sometimes they are being planted. And planted things grow when the time is right. Allah knows when that time is. Your role is not to force the fruit to appear. Your role is to continue watering the seed, protecting the intention, and staying close to the one who controls all outcomes. The silence is where your sincerity is proven. The silence is where your does rise without pride. The silence is where your identity is not tied to praise or applause. And when Allah sees that you are ready, He will elevate you in a way that no one can stop. One of the greatest tests that a believer faces is the test of being hidden, overlooked, and seemingly forgotten. It is easy to be patient when the reward is visible. It is easy to stay motivated when you are being praised. When your efforts are celebrated and when people acknowledge your good, but how do you behave when no one sees what you're doing? How do you respond when your work is unnoticed, your efforts are unseen, and your sincerity is tested in complete silence? This is where the real strength of faith is built. When Allah hides you, it is not to hurt you. It is to prepare you. And that preparation demands a level of patience and submission that many do not understand. If you can serve quietly, obey consistently, and strive sincerely without applause, that is a sign that you are being made ready for something greater. When you are in that hidden phase, in a speaking about, your intentions are under scrutiny, not by the people, but by the one who created you. He is watching to see if you still do good even when there is no worldly reward. Will you continue to pray qiyam when no one knows? Will you continue to work hard without seeking recognition? Will you continue to give when no one says thank you? These are the questions that shape your patience, while hidden is not passive waiting. It is active trust in Allah. Be speaking about. It is believing that even though no one is clapping for you, the angels are writing everything down. It is believing that even though your efforts are buried today, the one who controls the seeds will bring forth the fruits in His perfect timing. Sometimes you will be passed over. You will see others getting the job you wanted, the opportunity you prayed for, the praise you silently hoped would come your way. It will feel unfair. You may question yourself. Am I not good enough? Am I not working hard? Is my voice not worthy? But this is where your heart is tested. If you continue to serve in silence, if you keep helping others while no one sees you, if you keep holding on to the rope of patience when your hands are tired, be speaking about, then you are proving that your faith is not dependent on recognition. It is rooted in tawakkul. And Allah never overlooks the one who puts their trust in Him. He may not show you the outcome today, but He will never waste your effort. Every moment of silence is being recorded. Every time you suppressed your ego, every time you forgave when it hurt, every time you walked away from praise to protect your sincerity. It is all known to Allah. The ones who are closest to Allah are often those who appear insignificant in the eyes of the world. They are not in the spotlight, they are not celebrated on platforms, and they are not called by titles. But in the unseen world, their names are known, their actions are elevated, their does are heard. And that is because they remained steadfast while they were hidden. They did not rush what Allah had not yet written, and they did not complain when others were chosen. They understood that the hidden season is a sacred gift, a space to grow, a time to connect deeply with the one who truly matters. The danger of being elevated too early is that you might rely on the people instead of Allah. You might crave the applause, and when it fades, as it always does, you are left empty. But when you are hidden and patient, we're speaking about you are learning to serve for the sake of Allah alone. We'll be speaking about. You are learning that your value does not increase or decrease based on people's attention. You are learning that the most sincere deeds are those done without an audience. So when Allah finally does elevate you, speaking about, you carry with you a heart that has been trained to remain humble, a soul that has been purified through struggle, and a character that was forged in the quiet fire of sabr. And remember, Elevation by Allah is not always public. Sometimes He elevates you by granting you peace in your heart. Sometimes He elevates you by freeing you from the need to be seen. Something at times He raises your rank in the unseen realms where no one claps, but the angels record every sincere act. Speaking about. And all of this is built on the foundation of patience while hidden, obedience without applause, and steadfastness when it seems like the world has moved on. The plan of Allah is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. We often desire instant results. Could be speaking about immediate recognition and swift elevation, but Allah delays what we seek not because we are unworthy, but because the time is not yet right. He withholds so He can give better. He hides so He can protect. He waits so He can prepare. And when Allah chooses to elevate someone, no person, no force, no barrier can prevent it. But that elevation is not random. It comes after the soul has been purified, the intentions tested, and the heart trained to rely solely on its Creator. There is a divine timing to every breakthrough, every opportunity, and every rise. And when it comes from Allah, it arrives not a moment too soon, nor a moment too late. Many people try to rush their elevation. They seek influence before growth. They want platforms before purification. They chase fame without realizing the danger of being exposed without preparation. Speaking about what they do not realize is that premature elevation can destroy a person. A seed that sprouts before its roots are strong will collapse under the weight of its own growth. That is why Allah, in His infinite wisdom, holds back what you think you're ready for, because He knows what you truly need. He gives you time to strengthen your tawakkul, time to build your relationship with Him, time to learn how to walk before you're asked to lead. And this time is not wasted. In fact, it's the most critical part of your journey. What happens in the hidden phase becomes the foundation for the visible one. The more solid that foundation, the higher you can rise without falling. Think of how many people have risen in fame, status, or wealth only to collapse under the pressure because they lack the spiritual maturity to handle it. Speaking about, they had the skills but not the sincerity. They had the talent but not the humility. That we're speaking about, they had the followers but not the connection with Allah. That's why the delay is a mercy. It allows you to develop the inner qualities that no one sees, but that Allah values most. You learn sabr when doors don't open. Speaking about, you learn ikhlas when no one acknowledges your good deeds. You learn tawadu when others are elevated before you. Speaking about, and you learn yakin when everything around you tells you to give up. Speaking about, but you keep going because you trust the one who holds your future in His hands when Allah finally decides to elevate you. Speed will not be your effort alone. It will be by His decree. It will be in a way that cannot be explained by your qualifications. You're speaking a network or you're planning. It will be undeniable and it will be beautiful. The doors will open effortlessly. The opportunities will align without force. And most importantly, your heart will be ready. You will not be intoxicated by the attention. You will not be deceived by the praise. You will remember the days of being hidden, and you will carry that humility with you. That's the beauty of divine elevation. It ingratitude while raising your status. It humbles you while honoring you. It reminds you that your value was always in your connection to Allah, not in the opinions of people. Sometimes Allah will delay your elevation because He wants to protect others through you. He will keep you hidden until the people who need you are in place, until the situation that needs your voice is present, until the environment is ready for what you have to offer. Your purpose is bigger than your own desire. And Allah aligns everything with such perfection that when you are finally elevated, it's not just for your benefit. It's for the benefit of those around you. That's why it has to be at the right time, speaking about. That's why the delay is never a denial. It's part of a wider plan that only Allah can see. And when it finally unfolds out, you realize that every moment of being hidden, every second of patience, every night of uncertainty was worth it to be speaking about. Because what Allah prepares in private, He elevates in public with honor, with wisdom, and with a purpose that transcends your own dreams. When Allah chooses to hide you, He is not pushing you away. He is pulling you closer. He is inviting you to trust Him when you cannot trace Him, to be content when you are concealed, to remain firm when there is no one clapping for your efforts, and to continue walking even when no one notices the path beneath your feet. This phase of hiding is sacred. It is where intentions are purified, where faith is tested, where sincerity is strengthened, and where the heart learns to depend on the unseen. You are not forgotten. You are not ignored. You are not late. You are being crafted, polished, and nurtured in a way that only the most merciful understands. And when He sees that your heart is ready, when your soul has passed the test of patience, when your tongue remembers Him more than it seeks praise, and when your character has been molded through silence and submission, then He elevates you in a way that leaves no doubt that it was He who raised you, not the people, the effort, not the circumstances, but Him alone, the one who hides before He honors, the one who conceals before He commands the world to witness what He was building in secret all along